Fighting is tough inside the cage, as we learned at the spectacular UFC 227, but that is not what we are talking about today, which means it is time for Verbal Tap, show that proves something about the cage. Here on the podcast today, Garry The LionKiller Tonon. Garry, that last fight, you forgot how to do heel hooks?
I mean, you know, the hard part about doing heel hooks is Gordon just took them all from me. So.
Oh, okay. Stole them like knowledge and power wise. Is this like the Monstars when, you know, in Space Jam when they just steal the talent?
I want to thank you for using a child metaphor so that I can actually understand.
Garry, I can't help but notice you sound a little different now than you do in the interview we have coming up with you.
But no, I sound way more manly. Is that what you're saying?
Well, actually, that's funny. I was thinking more viscerally handsome, which is bizarre. Yeah. But I wasn't thinking manly necessarily, because that's just not what happens when I hear the cadence of your voice.
Well, shit, I don't know. I guess should we? I don't know. It's not Garry.
I do. This your omission. You're like settle. All right, bringing through like the third curtain. It was also Raph at 1FC during the fight. So Raph's been doing a lot of Garry impressions lately. That's why he struggled with the heel hooks. Obviously, Garry wouldn't.
At least Garry has a good alibi for the flying kicks that he missed. Here's the thing. The reason why I need to be so forthcoming, I know my impression is right on the money, and I know you guys would think, oh my God, it's Garry. But if you're one of those people who just tunes in to listen to our shows when Garry shows up, and we know who you are, it's important that we don't go down a list of falsehoods, because I was about to get into talking about STDs, and then you start thinking like, whoa, is that Garry? Is that not Garry? I just can't tell anymore.
It's a murky line to take it impression-wise. It's tricky because the actual person is such a caricature.
Yes,
yeah,
very
and
much so.
He is on the podcast today. He's talking 1FC and his normal Garry kind of, don't tell him we said this awesomeness. He's talking everything we asked him about, basically. And some things we didn't. That was our fault.
No.
There's a lot to talk about with UFC 227, Raph, and we are going to do that later in the week. Who's excited for a little teaser? First of all, I also know how Cody Garbrandt got his neck tattoo. So if you didn't see that, yeah, everybody else, it was one of my favorite interviews he's ever done. He's just like, I got this because I'm not spiritual. I'm not religious. I'm spiritual, but I am going to church. And then he just like has all these super awesomely religious tattoos. Really great. Great interview. I disagree with the Johnson decision, Raph. Hot fire take. People can listen to why, but I don't think it was taken from him. I'm going to say that.
Okay.
And you know what? While we're at it, disagree with the Dillashaw decision as well.
That was not a decision. I just want to make
hot takes coming later in the week for UFC 220 plus 5, UFC 227. Yeah, I can do math on the fly sometimes, especially if there's zero division involved. Today, we want to tell you about our best friends, the people that keep us very protected during some exposed yoga positions, Raph.
Oh.
I want to talk about North-South Jiu-Jitsu underwear and new color teasers.
Yeah, it looked like they're doing like a navy.
Oh, that's a sleek. I like.
They look money, dude.
I like a good navy. I like their spats. And for the Garry Tonon fans, they do have A1s in the men's size. Obviously, you will need the smallest version of the North-South Jiu-Jitsu underwear. For the rest of you, they make them across the spectrum. Get some North-South Jiu-Jitsu underwear. I love the way they keep I have just weird-shaped love handles. And by weird-shaped, I mean beer-shaped. It's like you can tell when someone's drinking more beer. These things, never a problem, even in hot yoga, Raph. And I know that they're for jiu-jitsu. I'm just getting there. That's my point.
We're getting closer by the day. When are you looking to get back to the mats, Kevin?
You know, we'll see. I had a nice rehab session not too long ago with both knees and a good clearance, but they want me to just get a little bit more flexible before I return, which is fair.
That's perfectly fine. I learned some very interesting things on how to break knees from one Ashley Williams. No big deal.
Ooh, I saw the interview with him. You can check that out and more Verbal Tapcast at Verbal Tapcast on all the social medias. Raph's talking to people like Ashley Williams. It's very cool.
Absolutely. But you can also check out, I don't know, sometimes you want good nutrition, Kev.
Great. I want good, great, natural nutrition. That's me.
But are you ever certain about what kind of nutrition you're getting? Is there some sort of way that you look at it and you go, I'm not so sure about it. I wish it was certified?
Absolutely. And not like that weird guy at GNC is like, trust me, that's award winning. And you're just like, what? It looks like it's orange Telluride box. I don't know what that is. It's like leaking. There's a mouse climbing out of it. That's what I don't want. I want something really certified.
I think you want something proven.
That's what I want. I want
proven nutrition. Go to provennutrition.com. See Richie. There's actually, this is one of the weird things, Kev. Richie put up a photo of himself, and it's weird when the actual person who owns the company can be a spokesmodel for his own brand. But he did one where it shows his physique and him being cut, and it says, uses proven nutrition, and then it points to the other person and says, uses other supplements. And I go, I can't argue with this. Richie's like jacked. This is just unfair to other supplements. Other supplements, get your shit together. But I guess if you were proven nutrition, you would be. So I guess that's what we want to say. Kev, we should waste no more time because people might be confused in the fact that my voice sounds so similar to one Garry Tonon.
Like what happened? Yeah.
What happened to him? Is he just in a box? Are you keeping him away from us? Maybe.
Hey.
Or we can just transition to that right now.
Speaking of wasting time, let's go do it. Now, and I'm going to hit play on the fight, Raph, because I've said it before about 1FC. I'll say it again. I love that they care so little about keeping Garry's fights privileged that they just post them immediately. Mm-hmm. It's genius work. And I heard a rumor, he doesn't have to confirm or deny, that Garry Tonon will only fight overseas because he was just so inspired by the movie Bloodsport, so he thinks that's how it has to be done.
That's actually correct.
Hey,
you're 100% right.
Here to comment,
Nikki
Garry
Ryan
Tonon.
To this day still has not watched Bloodsport, and since he hasn't watched Bloodsport, like since I found out, like the day he told me, I haven't trained with him. I won't even look at him when he's on the mat.
I'm the same way with hanging out with people.
If he gets too close, I just fart in his general direction.
People that haven't seen Cobra get my ear up. That's when it's like, get the fuck out of here. You don't know
Arthur
who
Cobretti
is. Raph, our guest, Garry Tonon, whom I don't know why you do this. I don't know why you two keep in touch. Maybe you want to tell us. But coming off a fight where we learned Garry forgot how to grapple, this is exciting. I appreciate you coming on the show this evening, sir.
Yeah, no problem, guys.
Can we start with the hair choice? I don't know where that is on the Pantheon.
Oh, the hair choice.
Yeah, go
on. Sure, let's do it.
Because this was
why don't you guys riff off before I explain it?
Pre-bug infection. This is so. I assume this wasn't a health choice like it would be now. You showed up looking like Kit Dale's ghostly cousin, maybe one that's never been to Australia. It was like, is that Laughlin Giles, except better at fighting? Who is that guy? Raph?
Yeah, we had some issues. Okay, so Garry, I said this as a caveat, and there's just like a little part, like a little island the shape of Africa that's missing on your hairline. So what's happening there? And I want to make it very clear that I put it out that you could have done it for a good guy reason, and that I should not be judged if like you're doing it to like there's a patient out there that you're like, I'm gonna do it too, buddy. And I was like, holy fuck. If that's the case, I've really grossly overestimated my own company.
Man. I wish I would have thought of that and just went with that as like I should have just the moment you told me that right there, I should have just been like, oh yeah, it's my friend who had cancer. I just went with that and just let you feel like a piece of shit.
Because here's the thing, I had that joke ready the second I saw it, and I go, Raph, you don't know. You don't know. You haven't talked to him about this.
Gotta pull back.
You gotta pull that joke back, because you know what the worst part is? If he actually produces some Make-A-Wish kid that it's supposed to be dedicated to, this will ruin you forever. So anyway, what happened, dude?
Damn it. I got to think about that next time. Yeah. So about pretty much a month after my last fight, I just got a random patch of hair missing in the front. And then pretty soon after that, a random patch of hair missing on the side. So based off of what I talked to a bunch of different people about, I haven't gone to the dermatologist about it. I just hadn't had time because I was training for my next fight. They just said that it's some sort of autoimmune thing or something because of stress, and I need to go get steroid injections or some sort of thing or whatever. But I just didn't have time to bother with all that bullshit. I was training, so I just decided to shave my head for the fight and said, fuck it.
Okay, so you didn't have time for steroids. Is that because Gordon is taking all of the steroids for you? I want to be very clear as to how and why you don't have time. You know what? You know what they say?
There's only a limited amount.
Steroids a priority. You need to say that sentence out loud.
Oh my god.
Conspiracy theory too. Henzo just has one of those steroid buckets, like the drug buckets in prison. You take a handful, you throw it in, and everybody's like, "God damn it, Gordon! Save some for the rest of the team." All right.
I'm being super clear about this, Gary. The nicest part about you even being mentioned in the realm of steroids is you'll appear with a six-pack at some point, but we know that you're not really on the good steroids if you are on them, even though you're on a federation, 1FC, bless them.
Oh, they don't test. They don't test for anything.
Oh, God.
Although this particular fight, they tested for cocaine and marijuana for this fight, because I guess apparently the new guy.
Bad news. Hold on, this is breaking. My 1FC career is over. I didn't know this. Damn it!
It's the only reason though is because it was in the Philippines, and the new leader there.
Duarte.
I don't know what they're called. Is a big drug crackdown guy. So apparently anybody who does any type of athletic competition in the Philippines has to be tested for cocaine and marijuana metabolites. So I got tested 4 times.
He thinks weed causes gayness. He's not wrong.
That's true.
What's that?
He thinks weed causes gayness if we're just using his record.
It causes gayness.
And he's not wildly wrong. I just think there's an argument that could be made.
That explains Kev's disposition.
Right. So, Gary, here's the nice part. I'm glad that we got to the bottom of it, because for a split second, aside from the whole cancer sort of scare or the Make-A-Wish angle,
cancer scare,
I started thinking,
whatever disease that doesn't afflict his mustache but somehow attacks his head. It's like his mustache is as girthy as I've seen.
Imagine it really was cancer though. I haven't actually got it checked out, so it could be. You never know.
Asterisk. Put an asterisk.
The worst part about recordings is that people can go back and listen to these things and go, remember that time, Raph, that you were insensitive about Gary's cancer? And I was like, to be fair, Gary's insensitive about everything. So I don't feel that, we're really out of line here. I just thought for a split second you could also be reverse Michael Jacksoning, and maybe you were going to turn black. And I said, maybe this is where it starts.
I hope so, man.
He looks like Mario Van Peebles in 6 months. That's great.
So let's do this. Okay, so let's start from the beginning, because I want to make sure people have a nice progression. Obviously, the hair is a good point, but you announced...
I'll tell you what, though, Raph, you're in trouble, because if I am transitioning to black, I'm going to turn Hispanic first.
Is that how that goes?
I'm pretty sure. I think that's how it goes. I'm going to look Latino before I look black.
I don't want you to be Latino. I feel you would drag us down.
I know. That's why I said you're in danger. I know you don't want me to be in the same class as you.
In any way. Human.
Hold on, I'm going to dig on Raph. He just wants to stay the funniest Latino on the podcast. Ayo!
I'll accept that. I just like the fact that, Gary, you'll start to understand things, when someone goes, hey, do you guys want to get empanadas? And then they look and stare at you for a minute, and you go, it's fine. I approve of this. Do you guys want to go to Taco Bell? Everybody look at Raph and see if he's okay with it. Taco Bell is fine. It's not real Mexican food, but we can go to it. So, Garry,
for the longest time I pronounced empanadas. Or sorry, I just did it right there. I always say empanadas, like with an enye. Like I never even know it's incorrect.
Wait,
I'm like incorrectly using a Spanish letter that like Americans don't know about.
You're calling them empanadas, like they're little empanadas full of pinata candy? That's adorable.
Exactly.
So
I get corrected by Spanish-speaking people every single time.
I don't know. I would eat the shit out of an empanada, too. I want that on the table. It's just got cocaine and marijuana. You hit it. It's a Philippines delicacy.
It's a one FC cocktail.
There you go.
Garry, you announced this fight relatively late. Like, I want to feel like we didn't hear about it until late February,
Dude,
early March. What was up with that?
I was kind of upset about that. That sucked, man, to be honest.
Why is that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know what it was about their scheduling or whatever. They just had a tough time, like, officially promoting it or whatever the case may be. Because until they make the first post about it publicly, I'm supposed to not announce it, you know?
Yeah.
So, I don't know what the deal was, man. I don't know why it took so long. It made me, like, I had to book flights a lot later and stuff like that. Like, it's whatever, man. You know, I know they get busy. They put on a lot of events, to be fair. I think they have 24 events this year for their organization, just decent amount. So I get it, but yeah, man, it would be nice to like be able to have more fun with the promotion of these fights because like basically they're only giving me like 2 weeks, you know. Because honestly, in 2 weeks, it's funny because I do a lot of seminars and stuff with jiu-jitsu. I don't really do it as much anymore, but I used to. Like in 2 weeks, that's not even enough time for everybody to know you're going to be in a particular area. You know, It takes time to really like actually use the promotion of a fight. Like the amount of people that would have watched the fight on that day would have doubled had they given it 4 weeks promotion as opposed to 2 weeks. You know, so weird.
I'm sure, like even if you didn't necessarily put together seminars, it's got to be kind of weird to be calling up people over in Asia and going, hey, you guys be interested? I might be in town. No reason. Just kind of visiting.
Just FYI.
Yeah, I tried to put it out there that I was going to be there. You know, I just said like, oh, I might be headed to the Philippines on this particular time so that people would know. But
oh, was that your code? Okay, well, now that we know it, I'm not sure. You kind of, all right, fuck, Garry. I don't know.
Well, be careful with that because I said the same thing about Tokyo recently, and I'm not having a fight in Tokyo in a couple weeks. So
good.
Everybody relax.
Because I was going to be like, you got to let a journalist know, someone that can fucking crack your stupid code and say it on the air or out loud. So that's a good time to text your friend Raph. Hey, wink, wink, gonna be in the Philippines. So, and just, give us a message if you think your fight's like going coke and weed free for a few weeks, if you get my drift. And then we'll know to announce it, give people a heads up. But they put it on YouTube immediately, and it's a great thing for you that they do that, by the way, just in terms of your career stuff. Go ahead. Sure. Sorry,
No, Kev, I was just saying. Oh, go ahead, Garry.
No, it doesn't matter. It wasn't saying any important.
No.
Well, fuck both of you for trying to interrupt me because I was on a real tear. No, so there's this fight almost has 23,000 views, and it's not like anyone's tuning in. No offense, Rahul Raju. I mean, maybe a few, but this is a Garry wave of fight stuff. So at least they put it on there and post that shit immediately. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, I think they're going more the route of like advertisements and stuff like that. Apparently, like, you know, from what we had a big social media seminar after our like weigh-ins and stuff like that, our press day and everything like that. Like, so they sat us down for like a half hour to an hour and explained to us like kind of like what their goal is with their promotion of their organization. So they're kind of like going the wholesome, you know, martial arts respect sort of route. So they're looking for like sponsorship from people like Disney and things like that, which apparently would never sponsor like UFC, but they'll do it for one championship. I don't know. It got a little weird when they told us, you know, we probably shouldn't say things like mixed martial arts, which is what we do.
I am frozen on a picture of you trying to heel hook him. So let's just not. in this very unmixed martial arts, we'll call it segmented martial arts, you are trying for your first heel hook. And this is what America wants to know first and foremost about this fight. Garry, have you forgotten to do heel hooks? Like, is it harder with the gloves on?
No,
I think
it worked out just fine if you looked at his face. I mean, I definitely tore his ankle apart. There wasn't as much knee damage. I just think it was just based on the position. Just turned his ankle around twice. But I think it's pretty apparent that they were both effective. He just chose not to tap. So I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I spent like an entire match with one of the Meow brothers, like ripping his ankle to shreds too. It is what it is, man. It happens. I just chose at a certain point. I felt like, all right, this is enough. He's not tapping. Let's let go and then work on something else that's going to make him tap or not get knocked out. So, yeah. Apparently, people are making like videos and like comments and posts and things about like his level of defense or something to the heel hooks. But like, I don't think he ever really did anything to defend. I pretty much just extended to the fullest extent I possibly could and then let go. I don't really know if there was anything that happened that he did specifically that stopped any of those heel hooks, but I don't know.
Look for Rahul Raju's new DVD series, Defending the Tonon heel hook.
Pretty much what I'm expecting based off of the things people were saying. Like, somebody made like a full breakdown of like his defensive skills in the position. Like, I'm pretty sure if you look at it, I just fully cranked his ankle and then I let go. Like, I don't really know what the deal was. The thing is this, like, I think people expected me to get tunnel vision, like most jiu-jitsu guys, which they go after a submission hold. And like, if they're not getting a submission hold, they continue to pursue it until they get it. Well, that's how it works in grappling. It doesn't work like that in mixed martial arts. If I continue to pursue this heel hook that's like, he's not tapping to, like, I may just end up getting punched in the face. So, hey, let's let go of this and we're fighting. We'll work on something else.
I'm going to take a Colin Hurd.
I just want to make sure that we're very clear on this. You referred to it as what you're not supposed to refer to it as. It is martial entertainment. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, martial entertainment. Oops.
Martial entertainment. That's all exactly. Right. You got to get that family-friendly audience in there because here's the best part is this is why I love the grappling community. They're very behind you, but then when you don't finish with heel hooks, it's like, what's happened to Garry? Like, what? Yeah, happened?
You suck.
What man? And like the other thing that I think is really funny is, you made a statement in your first one to really have stand up. And Kevin's probably going to get to this a little bit later in the fight. But the other alternate funny part of that is when people go, he's abandoning the stand-up and going back to his grappling. Yeah, it was a good run, striking. Good job, Garry.
Oh, this second hook does look brutal. Now that I'm rewatching what you did to his knee, that is not defense I recommend. Man. Not with my dexterity.
Yeah. Dude, the second one particularly, I remember looking at his face, and I was like, all right, man.
Okay, I like what you just did. Hold on, you just hit him in the face while he was staring at the heel hook. That was fun.
The funny part was he was trying to hit me, and I used this like X leg around his hip to make sure that I could create distance so he couldn't hit me. And I just like let my legs ease up for a second, and I just hit him in the jaw. I just thought it made me laugh a little bit, like during the fight. I don't know why.
Oh, then he threw the nice knee of justice. So let me spin that last comment you just said for the blog posters Monday through Wednesday. Garry Tonon afraid to get hit in the face during a heel hook. That's what I heard. That's just what I heard. You were doing more grappling in this fight. Intentional? Because he obviously, in terms of, I don't know what his striking prowess was. Oh, I also want to talk about, Raph made a hilarious meme about your fight status, the skills and different strengths. But I genuinely also think you should be offended by where they had your grappling.
Where do they have my grappling?
Not at 100%. That's where they don't have it. It's not even at 90. It's at a clean 72. Which I think is complete bullshit. It's like, okay, all points aside, like, you might want to make it above 90. Like, you might want to just...
Sure.
Kick and a miss. Why were you grappling more this time?
Sorry. That distracted me.
I told you I was going to call and herd you on this one. I'm going to hit you with his, like, horrible radio questions. We'll just keep those...
So I grappled more this time. Actually, For two, I was thinking about it leading up to the fight for sure, but also somebody mentioned to me actually made me think about doing it a little bit more during this fight. I was having an interview with a guy. He used to work for Spirit Magazine, I think it was, in Japan. I'm not 100% if he still does or doesn't anymore or not. I was doing an interview with that guy, and we talked about my first fight and how, I said, like, listen, like, I don't want to be in a championship fight for the first time, have to use my striking. That's why, I want to make sure I test it in my earlier fights. And he raised an interesting point to me, which was, that although I had been doing grappling for, over a decade, that, like, you don't want to be in a championship fight and have to use your grappling in a fight for the first time, at that point in time as well. And I was thinking about it, and it's like, it's actually correct, because grappling in a fight is very different than, grappling in a grappling match. So that was kind of my thoughts. It's like, all right, well, let's see, what kind of threats are going to be offered to me from, my grappling exchanges in this fight. So I kind of shifted more. Ironically, after he asked me that question, I shifted more towards making a decision on, I'm going to use grappling a little bit more during this fight.
Okay. Well, and to your point and what you're talking about, and I think the next echelon of your game is it'll be fun to see you get creative with the ground and pound, because it still seems like that you're grappling and you're like, oh shit, I can punch him. That's right. Boom. But there's a lot of moments still where, you're causing some problems. So in the transition, it's that's what's fun about this fight. There's a lot of transition from grappling to fighting, which is difficult in your size group.
I think there was one time where I was mounted on him where I transitioned to a triangle, which just didn't make any, like, I should have just stayed on top and punched him in the face. I don't really know why I bothered to do that.
Don't change what we love about you. You keep that. You stay golden. How fucking dare you? I loved it. I was like, yeah.
He was so, like, oiled up, though, that, like, a lot of that stuff was just very difficult. Like 100%, like at least like shoulders and arms for sure. Like, I remember trying to make grips on him, and it was like, couldn't make a grip on anything, especially gloves. Like, my hand would slip right off. He makes one grip on my glove and I can't fucking move my entire hand. So I'm like, what the fuck's happening here? This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. So let me get this straight. You're saying just like naturally from sweating, or was he greased? Like, what is that?
You can never really say,
okay.
But
I mean, you could if you were a pussy, but that's fine. Do whatever you want to say, Garry.
You can never really say 100% for certain, because I do believe that, like, different people produce certain different levels of grease through their skin, just naturally, just based off of the different people that I've grappled with over time. But it definitely felt an unnatural level of slipperiness for sure.
Oh no, buddy! Develop defense grease. Go.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's something to be expected. I mean, John's told me that for years, that, like, basically as you fight at the high level, like, pretty much everybody's going to do that because they know you're a grappler. So, I mean, it's whatever. But didn't stop either of the heel hooks from breaking his ankle, or the strangle from happening. It actually made the strangle easier.
Well, look for his second defense series coming on DVD from Rahul Raju, Oiled Up, the art of staying greasy.
We have called this guy Raj Al Ghul, and I'm hoping that everybody else has, because that's the only... like, when I saw his name come up, I said, okay, like, I'm not going to learn that real name. I'm just going to call Garry versus Raj Al Ghul and let it be.
I'm not going to learn that real name.
Listen, I've got too much stuff to do at times. I've got people to interview. I've got people trying to give me shit. I have to decipher the fact that they felt the need to give you power levels. Like... that's why when I made the meme, it was because I said, where do they get off? He's had one fight, and he has a fucking power chart? Like, especially to, like, sit there, they go, striking, about 60 if we're being honest. And then they're like, grappling, an astounding 83. And it's like you're playing Madden, and then all of a sudden you see that all of a sudden one of the announcers has the exact same power level as, like, Tony Romo, and you go, is that fair? Well, I guess. So when I saw that, and I saw that power chart.
So I'm the announcer. That's what we're saying here.
I'm not saying you're the announcer. I'm saying you might be a announcer. You might be somebody who has very entry levels into grappling based off of this chart, Garry.
I've got one. They throw Steph Curry. It's like 3 points, 82. Post game, 79. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? What?
So we couldn't help but like look at it and laugh profusely, and then we make a meme and we're happy about it. But I'm still sitting there and I'm trying to explain to somebody. I go, it's just weird that they gave him cage control as still a pretty high thing, and I go, what were the rejected things?
You are currently
they were
in
trying
cage control position, just as we're in a mount in round 3, ref. Oh, yeah. Nuts on the face. Oh, there's a taint. Yeah, this is where the triangle happens. Sorry, things just got real for Rajah Ghul.
Fair enough. So, Garry, the other thing that was interesting to note about this is that the internet seemed to be like, they were complimentary of this guy, and they said that he exposed you, and I thought that was a funny comment as well.
10th planet brown belt. He's been rolling at 10th planet. They screamed that in a weird way at one point.
Oh, also, I think this is the thing I had to do live on the air with you. Last week I did a version of it, but I wanted to see if this brings back any memories. Kev, can you tell me exactly where they are on the fight right now that you're watching so that I can replay what he would be saying?
Minutes 12:24 in the third round. Rajah Ghul just got up to try for one more go of it in the stand.
You may notice that Rajah Ghul is very close to finishing this fight. And I go, what's wrong with this announcer's voice? Like, he sounds like a voice that you do on the Cartoon Network.
Oh, he is limping, by the way. I'm noticing this now.
I haven't listened to the announcing yet, so I can't say for sure.
Oh, you should.
Garry, when you do, just
But I
know.
did say I did hear they were getting rather excited.
Not just excited, but like, you know how Mike Goldberg would occasionally get a little too excited about a kick or something, and you go, nah, Goldie, good for you. This guy was literally guffawing on the microphone and being like, I can't believe that. And I'm like, I think his oxygen levels are very low. I think he might pass out at any given time. So when you go back and you listen to the commentary in English, just see if you have a natural reaction from there. What surprised you most about this fight, man? Was there anything that kind of caught you off guard? Because, again, he exposed you. So I want to make sure
his size, for one. I just remember looking across the cage and just being like, what? What? Like, that thing's 170? Like, what is this? Because they have the hydration testing and everything like that. So, I mean, from what I understand, I guess the way that some of these guys are like, are getting to be a little bit heavier is they'll hold in their piss from like the morning and then like run off weight so that their piss is still hydrated when they go to pee. But you still can't dehydrate like you do in the UFC. Like, you can't have massive weight cuts like a dude going from like, 185 or 190 to 155. Mm-hmm. But I think very easily this guy might have been able to go from like 185 to 170 or something like that. Cause he's pretty big, man. Like, I think he's a considerable, even though they said something like I was only 3 centimeters shorter than him, that's definite bullshit. I'm pretty sure he's at least 3 to 4 inches taller than me. And it looked like he was considerably bigger than me too in the arms, legs, and midsection as well. So
penis department.
Can't really say for sure, but that was, I would say, the most surprising thing of the fight was his size for the first thing. And then I guess his punching power and accuracy wasn't too bad. Accuracy towards the end started to dwindle. Once I kind of figured out what he was going for, it was pretty predictable. But the power was a lot harder than I expected, because in his previous fights, I think he took a little bit of a different strategy this fight. I'll explain why later. In his previous fights, he just stampeded forward into everybody. But his very last fight before mine, when he did that, he got knocked out by check hooks because he was running forward, check hook, finally dropped. So I think he was a little worried to do that this fight, maybe. We were expecting that. That's what we were preparing for. I think he's worried to do that this fight because he didn't want to get knocked out like the previous fight, even though like I'm not a crazy experienced striker or anything. So he tended to stay a little bit more standstill, wherever he was at. There was only one time where he pursued me, which was round 2. Mm-hmm. But every other time he kind of stayed still, which actually oddly made me want to stand more still, which was bad for me. So that was kind of odd. I had like a non-reactive opponent that wasn't moving very much, so it kind of screwed with me.
Well,
I would say like those are kind of the two things. And then like the last thing I would say, I definitely didn't expect him to just not tap the submissions, but it happens, but I didn't expect him to like just let his leg get broken completely. Especially the second submission. The second leg break, that one was pretty bad. Like, yeah, like I like if I look at your face while I'm breaking your leg, like I'm definitely like, that means things are pretty bad. So I'm like, man, like dude. Yeah, so that was pretty rough.
A lot of MMA guys
I'd say those were unexpected things.
A lot of MMA guys will try and tough their way out of things, sometimes not
for sure
in the best of ways that they should. I had a guy who I was training with today who told me, I think he was saying he was close to losing this fight, or he did lose this fight, or he got put in this knee bar. And I just asked him, I was like, oh, was that bad? He's like, yeah, I fucked up my knee, but I punched my way out of it. And I was like, good story. And he goes, but I couldn't walk the day after. And I go, just curious, can you show me what he did? And he's like, yeah, this is where I was. And I was like, do you know what you're supposed to do from here? And he goes, oh, no. And I go, we should go over that. And he's just like, cool. And like the one thing I made sure, I was just like, just know where your knee is. If you know where that's happening, a lot of things can happen. The guy's just like, thanks, dude, you're blowing my mind. I was like, no, this is entry level. So while I understand punching can be very helpful, it's probably not our go-to. This is something that I was intrigued in asking you, because now, the first fight, it's a different situation because you had that first round and then you were able to go and finish in your second round. This time you actually had 2 opportunities to go over to your corner. What was the best advice that you were getting in those moments?
So the best advice was actually advice that I didn't follow. Because I'm just a fucking retard.
Wow.
So, yeah. So John told me early, like after first round, he was like, listen, like he's only throwing right hands, which that I knew. I believed that. But he's like, stand conventional because you're more likely to shield the right hand with your lead hand, and then you can throw like more effectively. You're going to get hit less and you're going to hit him more, as opposed to standing southpaw, where there's like an open connection with his right hand to your head. So he said that, and I heard him, but like, and it's not that I didn't want to listen. I think I tried, but like my body's natural inclination was, well, I want to stand southpaw because I want my head to be further from his rear hand. But like in reality, that's almost worse because you can kind of smother it by being closer to it. And like he said, like I kind of have that arm up to deflect the rear hand. So I was leaving myself more susceptible the whole fight by standing in southpaw to him just throwing that heavy rear hand over and over again. So that was the best piece of advice that I probably got. There was also one piece of advice that I got from one of my corners, who's the guy that I brought out as a sparring partner, John Bianco, he's a kickboxer. He told me that the guy was open for the rear high kick on his right side, my left side. And he was 100% right. Problem is I just fucking suck. So instead of hitting him in the head, I just fell. But it was pretty clear when I did throw it a couple times that I did that he was open for it. I just couldn't make contact because I'm terrible. But that was good advice too, if I was competent. So
to be fair, it's expecting a lot of you to be able to kick and high. Kick at the midsection maybe, but kick high, that's just rude. The second part of this is, okay, so I'm now starting to realize how this is coming along, because the 2-part question I have on this, based off of what you just told us, was, number 1, it makes me realize John Danaher is not a short-winded person, and you only have so much time on a stool. Does he just get going by the time they, pull you off? Because he's just in the middle of, Mr. Garry Tonon, it would be in your best interest to... Oh, we got to go back in the round? Okay, cool. So that's number 1. And number 2, when you don't follow his advice in the first round, and I've seen him get heated, does he get a little bit of, what the fuck are you doing? Did you not listen to me? What the fuck's wrong with you, Mr. Garry Tonon?
No.
Ding, ding, ding. Time to go out again. It's like, oh, you didn't even get back to it this time. You just admonished me for not doing it. Yeah.
So, no, he doesn't get like crazy like that. I think like he's very, he's very cognizant of the fact that like any type of emotion could like play a role. So I think he chooses, if it was in the training room and I did something like that, 100% he would freak out and call me a retard. For sure. Like multiple times, he'd be like, yeah, way to switch stances, you fucking retard, or something like that. For sure. He'd definitely say that. But because it's mid-fight and he knows that it's very important, like he just basically repeated himself over and over and over again. So like second round, I'm pretty sure he just kept saying that over and over and over. I'd have to I don't know if they have any recording of the corners or if there's microphones nearby, but I'm pretty sure that he must have repeated it multiple times second round, because I clearly didn't listen to it the first round.
I just hope
I'm not 100% sure.
He spoke in all caps locks, because if he did, then that's how you don't know what he's really referring to as being serious or not. I one year for Gordon's birthday wrote a post as John Danaher wishing him a happy birthday, and literally wrote in different parts in capital letters and in regular letters, where it was just like, before I wish you a happy birthday, it is important that we discuss the manner in which birthdays come from. Mr. Gordon Ryan, the most important part of having a good and socially acceptable birthday is to give credit to those of which came before you, the previous years of birth. And I was just like, I finished writing it, and I go, I've never spent this much time writing a bullshit thing that I'm not so sure someone's going to read. So I actually have to go and screenshot it. And I know Gordon just celebrated a birthday, so I have to just literally repost that shit every year until it gets the due it deserves.
Just because of the time invested, like you're not even sure if it's a useful thing for you to do.
Here's the thing, because it's not like a meme that I put to my following. I put it on his page, and I started it. And the dumb part is, because I'm such a perfectionist, I can't just do the bit and go I don't care. Clearly, if I put more than 2 minutes into it, I go, well, I've got 5 minutes to spare. Let's see this thing through. And by the end of it, I'm like, oh my God, I've written a madman's manifesto.
What did I do?
What did I do?
What have I created? It's a monster.
There's 10% of you that's like, this is fucking genius. I got to do this more often. I got to drop some acid and banana her for 72 hours. I'm gonna write about the science of orgies with a dark, ominous voice. I have a question, very one related. First of all, you just tapped him, and congratulations, whatever. Grappling, I guess you still have some skills. And despite him being one big bitch, as I'm seeing him side by side with you, you're right. I didn't notice it in the fight, but he's a clean. He's the ref size, and you are not.
Yes, he is.
Okay. They clip away from your victory to the two bikini-clad 1FC, I don't know. I assume they're accountants.
Thank God.
Because
give everybody a break in the eyes.
They're holding this tiny case that says one championship. Here is obviously my question. Do you get that case, and do you know what is inside of it?
I didn't even realize that they were carrying a case.
I'm
upset that I didn't get what was inside the case.
Your fight ended seconds ago.
I have no idea what's inside of it.
And they are showing it to the crowd, and one of them is behind her, pumping it up, raising the roof, as though to indicate that's what you've won. And I'm waiting for it to be a fucking transformer or something, or you to tell me there was pure yin in it, but no.
Dude, I wish, man. I have no idea what's in that case. I'm going to take it up with them before the next fight.
I am happy.
Make sure I either get the case or at the very least know what's inside the case.
Thank you.
Because that's concerning to me as well. I must have got hit too many times then.
I don't know. They're just standing right behind you with this tiny case. I would be worried now if I were you a little bit. I have no... Okay, well, internet, Reddit, if anyone out there listening has the time to deep dive this, and or... Raph, we've wanted to start a second podcast for years. This is the one. The quest to find out. Or third, wait, you're doing the pro one. I guess second one. We want the one FC. We'll find out. 10-part episode coming this fall. What's in the case? Following...
It'd be like Halleck's backpack Instagram account.
God, I hope it's way more interesting than that ends up being. But
yeah.
Well, oddly enough, the case still hasn't paid Garry Tonon either. So we have at least one thing in common with both. You have been lovely in the media a little bit with Colby Covington threatening to beat you up and you responding with some personal attacks. Have you two had the chance to speak and make nice, or is he still just on a...
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
To make nice. No way. Dude, I don't know what the hell his deal is. But anyway, like, I know his whole thing is like, you know, he just takes jabs at everybody or whatever, and like he's trying to promote himself. It's super like forced and dorky, but it is what it is. I get the point. But anyway, like, you know, I was trying to go along with it. I'm trying to use whatever he fucking said to promote maybe a match with us. And I got no response after attacking multiple family members. So I don't really know. Well, the only response I got was from his sister. And like, you know, we talked about, you know, where we're going to go out and everything like that, but it has nothing to do with, you know, that situation. You know what I mean? Her response. But yeah, like he didn't say anything.
To be fair, he's going through a lot right now. I mean, there was the whole he visited the White House with the fake belt that he's no longer going to have. So that's rough, right? Yeah. Especially to go and present a belt and be like, yeah, I'm the champion. And like Trump go, yeah, I'm the president. Wink, wink. So the weirdest part of this to me for these two, though, is I saw that happening, and I know that Dana made that happen. But the fact that they made it happen so quickly, because they go, wait a minute, Dana said he was stripping him of that title, and yet they're having him go up there with an interim belt that he's being stripped of in a week? Like, what the fuck is this? This doesn't make any sense. And he's apparently super pissed that they're going to strip him. And to his credit, I'll give him this. I like the fact that the UFC made him an interim championship and then said, nah, just kidding. Everything's fine. Tyron Woodley's coming back, and Darren Till's way more fun. So he's got an empty dance card for a little bit, I'm assuming. I think that's plenty of time to have a grappling match with you.
Yeah, there's zero chance it's going to happen, though. Like, if you don't respond after you attack someone's sister and mother, like, I mean, that's what we used to teach Nikki to do. You know, like Nikki's not a very talkative guy. I mean, he's getting better, you know, since he got older, and like, you know, he's had a bunch of us retards around him to kind of loosen him up. But, you know, I used to tell Nikki, like, because I obviously had a lot of confidence in his combat skills, that when he goes to school, now he's not in school anymore, but when he goes to school, if anybody tries to start a verbal confrontation with him, he should just go right away and say something about their mother, you know, because ultimately, like, if somebody doesn't respond physically to an attack on someone's mother, well, then they weren't going to respond physically anyway. So it's just like, you know, that's the way to do it. You got to go straight for the jugular verbally right away. This way you don't have, because I wasn't confident in his verbal skills. You know what I mean? In terms of like, oh, you're a pussy, you're a bitch. Like,
no,
I didn't know if Nikki could do that game, you know, like I knew Nikki could strangle the guy. You know, I didn't want him to lose a verbal battle in school. Like, that's embarrassing, you know? I'd rather have him just strangle some kid unconscious. So
Gary's like, no kid of mine is going to lose a battle. Kev, I would actually pay to see this series of, you know, Garry Tonon mentoring a young Ward. Another Ryan 2.0, one might say.
I don't know, man. I'm normally in. Well, there's also, this already exists in nature. It's called the bluff charge. It's where a black bear runs at you and you are supposed to hold your ground. Now, there's one small problem with the theory. If it's not a bluff charge, it's definitely how you get murdered. So do with that information as you will.
That's a fact.
But that's essentially what you're pitching out. I was like, how do you know if it's not a bluff charge? He's like, you don't want to know. Great. That sounds like savory fucking advice, sir. Enjoy Aspen.
Yeah, man.
Okay, well, that takes care of the Colby side of things. You are also, and this was a bombshell prior, speaking of you doing any sort of mentoring or helping beat people up, Ryan Benoit coming to do some training with you?
Yeah, so he's a UFC fighter at 125. He's been staying with me and working on his fight camp. He's been doing his fight camp here at Henzo's as well as at my school at Brunswick. And basically just, you know, trying to give him as much training as he can leading up to his next fight. And I'll be cornering him on September 8th. I want to say he said it was in Dallas. Yeah, pretty sure it's Dallas. UFC card there against Roberto Sanchez.
So is it exciting to be now on the coaching side again? Does that feel good for you? Because the other thing I think that we wanted to ask you was, you were holed up, like your arm was in a cast, and then it just felt like once your arm was better, they go, okay, you're fighting again.
Yeah. No, for sure. My arm was, my wrist was pretty badly hurt. I didn't get a chance to post. I wanted to post some photos of that. I'm going to do it soon. I haven't posted anything because I've been deathly ill for the last 4 days since I got back from the Philippines. I thought I just ate something shitty because I was shitting myself constantly, but now I got white spots on the back of my throat, so I went to the doctor. It's definitely strep. They gave me antibiotics. I basically was sick for 4 days for no reason because I could have been taking antibiotics. But getting better now. But anyway, yeah, I was going to post something about the wrist. The wrist was pretty badly hurt, but it's definitely better now. I didn't re-hurt it. I didn't re-injure it during the fight, so that's good news. I think they want me to fight again sometime in the near future, so that's good for that. I almost just exposed the date of that fight. But
I was about to say, I was Kevin, my favorite month, near future.
Yeah, I'm just going to make a quick minute at the 43-minute, cut Gary's paycheck ending mistake. No, I'm kidding.
But on the coaching end of things, I'm super excited to do this because, I've mentioned multiple times in different interviews and things, I'm really a big part of why I'm fighting is because in the future, I know that obviously once my athletic career is over in terms of competing in jiu-jitsu or fighting, I want to be able to continue on with the sport. And the only way I'm really going to be able to do that is through coaching and teaching, similar to what John does for us. And yeah, man, it just gives me an early opportunity to coach a high-level athlete and just see what that entails. The last couple nights I've been studying all of his opponent's fights. I have detailed notes written down in a notebook right next to me. Right before you guys called, I just finished watching his opponent's second fight in an in-depth analysis, and just working on a game plan for him, and different drills and skills that he needs to be working on from a jiu-jitsu perspective, because he is fighting a pretty jiu-jitsu heavy opponent. So it's actually makes sense for me to be helping him out for this fight.
That's cool. I remember when you used to do jiu-jitsu. That's good. So the other thing, and I mean, you so eloquently mentioned this, and Kev, I felt bad. Gary's a longtime guest on this show, and when he said he felt bad, I thought, oh my God, we got to do something about this, Kev. So I took it upon us to go ahead and put up a post, because Garry put up this thing that said, character, Garry Tonon, strengths, can kill lions, questionable. Weaknesses, mosquitoes are highly attracted to you, and you are highly allergic to them. And I thought, that's a short list of weaknesses. And Garry, through Garry form, said, add more to the list, asshole. And I said, say no more. Now, I made a very quick meme, and we had some people chime in. And Kev, I'll ask you for yours in just a minute, but I'm going to read you a couple that I think were very good. Ryan Clark,
I saw some preliminary ones, but I'm excited to hear these.
Literally, this one just came up right now. Ryan Clark says, vulnerable to a stun gun while making inappropriate sexual advances. Mosquito bites my ass.
I don't really have much to say about that, but I feel like that'd be a vulnerability of anybody, but okay.
I mean, especially Garry, it's because I think the idea is, most people would say you get stung or hit by a mosquito, it's not like anybody's feels good when that happens. You just happen to have an extreme version of what happens. That's all.
Yes.
So let's continue down this list. This one, it's from MRO88, and you saw this one, but it says Garry has a weakness for the Florida boy, who's AJ Agazarm's, butthole. If he sees it alone and gets a whiff of its tartness, he will kick it and fuck it.
Yeah. I feel like I commented on this.
You did.
I don't know. I don't really know what the hell happened to this. What happened with that statement, but I like it.
That's exactly what I said. I don't know what's really happening here, but I like it. The best part about this is I coined it by saying, guys, asshole Tinkerbell is dying. And people seem to be quite enamored with that one. But he said, your grappling skills coming into your last fight was not 100%, and you can't finish heel hooks against Paul Harris. Also, your mustache game is clearly second tier to Kit Dale. Now, I feel that one is where it starts to get just...
Yeah, that one hurt. That one hurt more than anything, to be fair.
I like Luke Beston's. The hashtag Danaher Decision Squad is collapsing like a house of dominoes. I really
Oh, my God.
Not as though, especially as a troll, because it has a few levels. It's obviously, this isn't about that, but it's like, love it. That was great. Just anytime you can use Danaher Decision Squad in a hashtag, you get my compliments.
Yeah, absolutely, bro.
We've got a couple more. Jiu-Jitsu Dad Bod says, was Garry Tonon bitten by a mosquito, or is he starting an itty-bitty titty committee? Now, I feel that's just...
Oh, wow.
That's just boob shaming, and I don't know that we have time for that.
I do like the bypassing of the actual bites just to insult your nipples, though. If we're just giving him category points, 8 out of 10 from the
First of all, I've been told multiple times that I have fantastic nipples, and many women wish that they had nipples like mine.
Is that what the guys
be
tell
clear
you?
on that one?
Okay. It says weak chest hair game here, and I do have to agree. You look Abercrombie ready, and just saying. Think about that.
Hollister.
We've got over here, it says, is being addicted to cash, chicks, and championships a weakness? Because if so, he's one weak motherfucker. Our good friend Drew from Because Jitsu, inexplicable vulnerability to DJ Jackson. Fair.
Yeah, that one hurts. That's like a knife driven into my back, bro.
So here's the ones that I get a little...
Why you do this?
By, because this one just said gluten. I was like, I don't know if that's a real one. But then there was another one that said Linda Ronstadt. And I said, is that a thing? Because I don't know if that's a thing.
I also we got a good picture one from Mario Fusca that says update, and it's your stomach, except now you've pierced in help me on it as opposed to just the bites, which I was like, that's pretty good. That's quite good.
I want to make sure that AJ from Gracie Barrow Riverside just put Garry Tonon, emphasis on the gay.
Wow.
Guys, this one's real. I like how to heart they took that. It was like, no cleverness necessary. Speak your heart.
No, this one was junk food and 2 out of 10 chicks at 2 a.m.
I mean, that's a fact. I don't think the 2 a.m. really needed to be added to that. But he's right. He's definitely right.
I think the last couple we'll just read. Night Jiu-Jitsu, which is Eli, who's an amazing human being. Weakness to maintaining balance while throwing kicks.
that one again cut like a knife.
I mean, if it makes you feel any better, Garry, I'm going to do a breakdown with you at some point on your kicking form. I feel like the next time we're in person together, I'm going to be like, is this how you kick here? Because I noticed you were going for Liu Kang, but like without the flying and just falling.
Honestly, at this point, I kind of feel like I have to fall during a kick during every fight. Or it's like, I guess my signature now, you know?
I wouldn't worry. I think it'll happen organically. Good news, update-wise, Raph. I took his photo and posted it to a Grindr profile, and the feedback way more positive. I'm going to spare the audience, but from the amount of peaches I was sent, I think the internet's not in the mood to roast Garry Tonon in the traditional ways, but I do think there's an opportunity.
You can't criticize these mosquitoes for trying to give Garry abs that will be permanent. Like, it just looked like they fucked up on their placement and length of what they needed for abs. Because I looked at them and I was like, either that's an alien growing in there or Gary's just trying to grow abs on top of abs, and you just don't need to.
Oh, man. So... Garry, in terms of your schedule and burstness and craziness, what are you doing in the interim? Is it MMA right now? I don't mean that outside of Colby Covington deciding to be a moron and fight you grappling wise. Are you strictly focused on it, taking that path? Because we haven't seen you on the grappling side. We're obviously getting lonely, but you're about to go on the MMA hour again, and there's just no turning back at this point. Give us that. Are you staying MMA for a while?
Yeah, so the thing is, The timing just has to be right if I'm going to do grappling, as well as the opponent. Like, it has to be something really meaningful. You know, somebody has to come with me with like an opponent that I really want to face in grappling. That's going to mean something. It's going to like elevate my career if I beat the guy.
You've never talked about your virginity in your life the way you're talking about grappling right now. But sure, it has to be right. There has to be a physical connection. You've got to. I get it. Go on.
100%. Never had that conversation. But yeah, no, that definitely has to be like a really good opponent that I want to face. And then the other thing that has to happen is the timing has to be correct. Like if for instance, there was some sort of grappling show that wanted me to be competing sometime like in like early or mid-September or something. Well, oh man, I almost just like, never mind. Doesn't make it. It doesn't make a difference. But the point of the matter is if it was evenly placed between my fights properly so that I could prepare for the grappling match, but I also could prepare for my fight, it wasn't going to impact my fight camp. You know, basically if it's 8 weeks out from whatever I'm going to be fighting, you know, then it's fine as long as I have a little bit of time, at least like maybe 4 weeks before that to prepare for the grappling portion of whatever I'm going to do. So it's a little tricky, the timing of like whenever a grappling show would be. And it's kind of tough because I never know exactly when I'm going to be fighting because they don't really like officially lock me down until pretty late. Like the last time they didn't even announce it until 2 weeks out. So it's kind of hard, man. I'd really love to do it. I would. There's definitely guys that I want to beat, but it's just a tough situation that they put me in because I really got to get as much cage experience as I possibly can at this point.
No, I get it. You've essentially become, at least in terms of your grappling, an extended Kevin Hart joke. You know, see, I would grapple you right now, but the way my bank account's set up is, and if I have like 2 weeks notice, like, can I get it to you on the first of the month?
And I would do it. I'm excited about fighting. Obviously, I want to fight. I fight right now, but I can't.
Yeah, I guess what would have to happen is I'd have to have an organization that's flexible and when they could put on a show. And then I would have to know when I'm fighting next, and then I could properly put the fight, you know, pretty soon after that fight, and then I could do it. That would be the best situation.
Here, you know, Metamorph will put together a very fancy presentation for you. We'll do it all over again. It's going to be great.
Perfect.
But, I mean, think about it like this. You're going to Kasai in a couple weeks. What can we expect to see from that? Because, you know, you're just going to be a guy checking things out, you know?
I don't know if I'm going to be able to be there, guys.
Wow.
Unfortunately. I know it sucks. I have a childhood friend that asked me to be at his wedding way beforehand, like 3-4 months beforehand, and I already paid like $350. I like rented a tux for like $350. So I'm kind of shot in terms of pulling out of that sort of ordeal.
Phrasing. Second of all, the fact that you had to pay $350 for a tux is, as someone who's gotten married, Kev, did I make you get a tux?
Nope, and you certainly didn't make me spend.
I'm part of the wedding. I'm part of the wedding party. That's why.
Kevin was in my wedding.
I was just gonna say, I was like, I wasn't top billing, but you should have seen what his best man had on as a tux jacket. Robin had naked women on the inside, so.
She's the best lesbian.
That shit wasn't $350.
Wow.
And if
you
it
had
was,
a best lesbian at your wedding?
It was worth every
100%.
penny.
My two best friends.
You did?
Yeah.
But you called her the best lesbian. Like,
so here's what I had to do.
Did she give a speech?
I think she called herself the best lesbian.
She called herself as the best lesbian?
The best lesbian.
Dude, that's so fucking cool.
You, again, my two best friends
fucking
from
cool.
life, forever. Bobby, who is essentially an Asian surfer dude, and Robin, a black lesbian. It is like between the three of us, when we would walk around at school, we were one diversity program into ourselves. But the best part about Robin is like,
why didn't you guys just do that? Like, why do you do this? Like, you should just be doing seminars.
I should call them up
fucking diversity.
Like, fuck Kevin. Kevin's really dragging.
You guys should all be taking pictures. You guys should all be taking promotional pictures outside of high schools. Like, what's happening right now?
Well, the best part is like, we would walk around and people would be like, "Oh my God, they got all the minorities." And it's like, "That's right, bitch." And we're in all your AP classes too. So one of the things that we told Robin was, for years, she didn't tell us that she was a lesbian, but hey, we're kind of like, no big deal. But then me and Bobby one day like pull her aside because she tells us after high school, and it's like in college, and she just goes, "Hey guys, I'm a lesbian." And we're like, "Dope. Why didn't you tell us this so that we could have been talking about girls with you the whole time while we were in high school? Instead, we treated you kind of like you were our sister and just kind of said, oh, okay, cool, go over there real quick." And Bobby and I would be like, "Yeah, she's fucking hot." Who knew? You could have joined in on that conversation. That's some bullshit, Robin. So,
Garry, she walks up, just black, sort of modern cut blazer. Blazer. No, blazer. And then And then she says the following.
Way to fix it.
She's like, "Guess what's under the jacket?" I was like, "I have no idea." Pops them open. The lining of the jacket is naked women. Just different pinups from Playboys. Just titties on titties. That's confidence I don't think I'll ever know, Ref.
And
what a savage.
When she messaged me, she's like, "Is it cool?" And I was like, "Of course." And then, like, in person, she asked Kelly, and my wife goes, "Oh, absolutely, so." And so when she shows up and she does it, it was the best party trick ever. She's like, "You want to see what's under the jacket?" Every person goes, "Yes." Oh, my God!
Titties! So, and it was very tastefully done. I don't know how that's possible, but it worked.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So up your rash guard game, dickhead. That's what we're saying.
I guess. So.
Fucking suck.
Time to start using all those Gordon dick pics to something useful. Just make a rash guard out of them. Make it abstract so it makes the Mona Lisa or like Eddie Bravo's face or something.
Ooh.
But just make it
nice.
of Gordon's penises. Just I'm throwing out ideas, Raph. I'm in ideas corner.
I don't know why you're so gravitated towards Gordon's penis, but all right, I'll do my best to make it happen.
I'm curious what the steroids have done to it. I heard he has one just for his penis. That's just what I heard. It's just, again, same conspiracy place.
Kev, before we send one Garry Tonon back into the wild, it's going to be important because he's the first stop, right now. This is the first interview he's had since his fight. So
apparently,
it's very
because
nice
we complained like family.
As far as you guys know.
Like, shut up. No,
yeah, I know.
I rescind my almost compliment.
Before we let him go on to another show, I think this is the part where Garry should tell a flat-out lie to see if people actually listen to the show, because he's going to go on other reputable shows, and they're going to ask him stuff like, "Hey, Garry, so we hear that you do good heel hooks. I see no evidence of that. I don't know any different, because I know a surface-level amount of information about you." So with the people who actually know you and have followed you for a long time, what's a fake story that you can end on with us, sir? That they won't 100% ask you on another show.
I don't know, man. Dude, you really put me on the spot with that one. A fake story.
A fake story. So think of something fake.
Start with the fucking case for one that I'm still looking for and I can't find.
I'm so uncreative.
Jesus, Garry. I thought that they
Hold on, Ref. Can I help? Can I do it? I got it. You're welcome, by the way. Feel free to start texting me more frequently before your interviews if you're... Doesn't matter. You did get the one FC box. It is a full-on sex robot that looks like anyone you want it to, and you're sworn to secrecy.
It changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be Mark Wahlberg.
I'm not willing to tell you guys who I chose it to look like.
Okay. Oh, my God. I like that twist, but you can only program it to look like one person.
Well,
it's
Garry,
programmed to look like Gordon's penis.
We knew it. You teach him a callback one time in an interview.
There it goes.
Well, listen, Garry, we've obviously been happy.
Kev mentioned it so much, I couldn't help myself.
I do blame myself. I will take responsibility.
Tried hard enough.
This is on me.
You could help yourself.
I feel like I'm responsible.
Well, let's do this. Garry, it's always good checking in with you. I'm very happy to bring you back on the show. But as we depart, we're about to celebrate 300 episodes, and I think it's important that you leave us with a good thing and say one thing that you've liked about us over these 300 episodes.
That's even harder than the last
I know. I'm putting you on the spot. Again, this is how we know we're getting a better interview out of you than some dipshit
Dude,
ask you.
I feel like almost every time we talk, you guys are at some bullshit milestone or like, oh, it's been 2 years, it's 300 episodes.
Bullshit milestone. Listen,
and I gotta leave you guys some kind of fucking message like, oh my god, fuck this shit. Like, can't believe that anybody is supporting you guys enough for you guys. You know what it is? I think you guys just must. I don't know if you're actually getting any support. You just delusionally believe that whatever it is that you guys are doing makes some sort of a difference, or like somebody appreciates it or something like that. I don't know. That must be it.
You're assuming I care. This is all. I'm just right here in the present, baby. Don't shit on any parades.
All right. All right. Fair enough.
When we're talking about delusional, let's talk about flying head kicks, and then we can really match up who's being delusional here.
We are the flying head kicks of MMA podcasts. Garry Tonon. Look for that T-shirt.
The flipping head kicks.
66%.
Flipping head kicks is probably more the way to go about it. First of all, they were perfectly timed drop kicks. I was actually planning on following during both of them. I watched a lot of Power Rangers, and it's been very effective on multiple occasions.
You can find him, Garry Tonon, 2 R's, and he has convinced me he's right on this. If you think about the Larry and Barry, so Garry Tonon, 2 R's. He is right. They call him the Lion Killer when they don't know him. More grotesque things as we have today when they do. We always appreciate you stopping by the podcast, and we would like to send you off with some happy 300 advice, sir. Those kicks kind of look like you could really benefit from some parkour. Maybe something where you throw a right arm down, plant, and then throw the kick. That way we're not as worried about the hips rising to a place that maybe they're not comfortable. So just think about it. I think I know a good parkour guy on the East Coast. You know what? We'll talk off air.
A touch butt guy? Is that what you're trying to tell me to do?
A touch butt guy.
I need to play a little bit more touch butt.
First of all, that might help with the hips. Don't knock it till you tried it. You are Garry Tonon. This is Verbal Tap. Thank you so much, Garry Tonon.
The number you have dialed has been changed. The new number is... Please note, the new number is...